Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all the people who have tuned in to watch World this morning on PTV World. I happen to be Eesha Rehan, and yes, today I am flying solo. Shahzad is unable to join us today, but I definitely have big shoes to fill because he always brings such a charm and charisma to the show. And for all of the Shahzad fans watching right now, you can drop down a comment on under our YouTube channel saying, okay, we missed you, Shahzad, and please come back soon. But I think we need to dive into what is happening across the globe and what we are experiencing today. Today actually happens to be Pakistan's National Navy Day. And it is observed on the 8th of September. It commemorates the Indo-Pakistan War, which happened in 1965. The Prime Minister Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif has paid tribute to the soldiers, officers, and the personnel of the Pakistan Navy for their determination, courage, and their performance in defending the maritime borders and interests of the country. In his message on Navy Day, he said that today is not only an occasion to pay homage to the glorious history of Pakistan Navy and its officers, but also an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to protecting the country's maritime borders and water-based interests. But not just this, the President Asif Ali Zardari has paid tribute to the Pakistan Navy, praising its courage, especially during the 1965 war. In his message on the Pakistan Navy Day, the President recognized the Navy's vital role in defending the country and condemned the bravery and sacrifices of its officers and personnel. And I think we all need to applaud the brave efforts of the Pakistan Navy. They always shine bright and protects Pakistan's borders while we sleep defenselessly in our homes, while they guard over us and watch us. But while we have talked about the seas, we need to talk about the skies. A very interesting and fascinating phenomenon has occurred in the past few days, and that is the blood moon. It is such a rare sight with breathtaking visuals. And to speak more about why this occurs and why is it so rare, we actually have Dr. Shahzad. He happens to be the Vice President of the Pak Astronomers Islamabad. He is here to break down the science behind this phenomenon. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Ji, walaikum assalam. I'm very happy to be with your channel today.
All right, we are so excited to have you as well, and I think we're so excited to understand that what exactly is a blood moon and why is it such a rare occurrence. Please go ahead.
Actually, it is the phenomena of the lunar eclipse that occurs about every 2 to 3 years when the moon comes, the shadow of the earth falls on the moon. When the earth comes in between the sun and the moon, the shadow of the earth blocks all the light that falls on the moon. So it becomes completely dark, and that is called as eclipse when the moon is eclipsed. So it can be partial or it can be complete. So last night we had a complete lunar eclipse that occurred for about 1.5 hours. And the people, most of the people, that they ask why when the moon is completely dark it appears red. So it's a scientific phenomena. With the dark moon, the light of the sun is so feeble, so dim, that when it travels through the Earth's atmosphere, the shorter wavelengths like blue and violet, they are scattered by our atmosphere, and the longer wavelengths.
Thank you so much for explaining that, and last night, unfortunately, even though I went out so many times at night to catch this rare phenomenon, I could not see the blood moon with my eyes, but I did see pictures of it. So can you please explain the difference between what exactly is a solar eclipse and what exactly is a lunar eclipse and how they differ?
Yeah, a solar eclipse is when moon comes in between sun and earth. So a solar eclipse occurs, but it is a very short-lived phenomena because the shadow of the moon travels through different part of the world, and it's very fast. So it only occurs for 1 minute or 2 minutes. But the lunar eclipse occurs when the shadow of the Earth falls on the moon. So, but it takes a long time because Earth is bigger than the moon. So it takes a longer time for this eclipse. So it occurs for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So that's the phenomena which when during the orbit of the sun and the moon and Earth, they come in between. So.
Okay, thank you so much for giving such a detailed insight into what exactly is a lunar eclipse and what is a solar eclipse. And it's people like you who keep us up with what is happening with the astrology and the astrological side of things. And I think it's very fascinating to observe these spectacles take place. But speaking of the skies, what is actually very shocking to say is monsoon is still occurring in September. I'm going to repeat it again. Monsoon is still occurring in September, and unfortunately Pakistan is devastated in floods. The National Disaster Management Authority has issued a warning of urban flooding in various parts of Sindh, Balochistan and southern Punjab, along with the risk of rising water levels in the Qatar and the Suleiman ranges, right? And to speak more about this, I think we have the man of the hour. We have MAHR SAHIBZAD, the Director General of the Meteorological Department with us. Thank you so much for joining us today. And can you please give us a detailed insight into what Balochistan, Sindh and the rest of the provinces are going to experience?
Yes, thank you, madam. Actually, the system that was developed over the Bay of Bengal, and after moving 3 to 4 days, yesterday it was on the southwest of the Rajasthan and near to the Pakistan border and Sindh. So that is in the intensity of deep depression. So due to this system, there are chances of heavy rainfall in Sindh, the southern Punjab, and some parts of the Balochistan. So we have issued yesterday early warning about the situations that will prevail for the next 2 to 3 in Sindh province, Balochistan, and in the southern Punjab. So already you know that the flood peak is also moving, and that is going to enter and descend in the next 24 hours at Guddu. So the situation is likely to be not good, as there will be also the flood peak that will be moving in the Indus, and also the heavy rainfall, exceptional heavy rainfall in the part of the Sindh. And in some major cities of the Sindh, there is the urban flooding, chances of urban flooding also exist. In Karachi, in Hyderabad, in Sakkar, these cities will also be affected by the urban flooding. And in the areas near, you can see that in the Thar, in Sindh, just like Mithi, Park, the wind will be more very gusty winds. The chances of very gusty winds are also there in the rural parts of the Sindh. So the system will remain active for the 2 days, today and up to the tomorrow, and then it will likely to be changed into the low pressure area. So the rain will continue, I think, on the 10th of the September also.
All right, thank you so much for highlighting how Balochistan, Punjab and Sindh are engulfed in these floods, right? So what exactly can the local people do, in your advice, to escape the monsoon floods, right? So we are seeing how heavy monsoon rainfalls are still occurring in September. That is not natural. That sounds very, very absurd and abnormal. In your perspective, how long do you think this monsoon spell is going to last for Pakistan?
Last spell. This is the 10th spell that has affected to the Pakistan area that started late June from 25th June. The first spell affected Pakistan, and it is the 10th. So it is not the last one, but it is likely that after 3 or 4 days break after 10th of the September, then another system is also likely to move and can affect some areas of the Pakistan. And after that, I think monsoon will become weakened, and it will retreat retreat from the Pakistan area. So I think one more system is likely in the mid of the September.
So much for giving a detailed breakdown and insights for us and the viewers watching regarding how when the floods are going to stop and when most likely the skies are going to be sunny and shiny upon Pakistan. Thank you so much for joining us, taking out your important time and insights to our viewers. And not just this, I think we need to talk about the relief efforts that are being put into place to combat the floods. Heavy rainfall has lashed several parts of Karachi, with Pakistan Meteorological Department warning of the downpours that could trigger urban flooding in cities and low-lying areas. According to the Met Office, rain-bearing clouds are currently present over the eastern parts of the cities, and these clouds may spread further into the city. And not just this, the Pakistan's army relief operations are ongoing in Jang and the nearby flood-affected regions. Rations are being delivered by helicopters to promote affected areas of Jang. 2.8 tons of rations have been distributed through helicopters in areas all across the provinces. The medical camps have been also established in the government high school, Jang City, and with regions deploying medical staff and the medical assistance being provided to the patients that need help affected immediately. And I think we definitely need to applaud the army personnel that have rescued 45 people using boats. And it's just very devastating how all these things are taking place, right? We need to come together as a nation and give back to our country. And not just this, the water levels in Ravi, Chenab and Sutlej are reaching quickly at heightened levels, right? And Sialkot, Nerawal, Wazirabad, Hafzabad, Chiniot are no longer under the threat of floods, which is great news to hear. And giving his daily briefing to the media in Lahore, the Director General of the PDMA, IRFAN Ali Khan, has stated that Multan and its surrounding areas are still under threat due to high levels, and we hope that we can come together as a nation and combat these floods. Why are these exactly happening? Are we the ones contributing to global warming? I think that's not the case. Pakistan has actually contributed less than 1% to the carbon emissions that are causing global warming, but we are at the brunt end of the stick, facing all these consequences and the devastating changes that climate change is bringing upon down us. What can we do as a nation? What can we do as individuals? Are we consuming less plastic? Are we spreading less litter in our societies? In Islam, it is stated that Safai is nifs iman, right? So, cleanliness is half of our religion. But are we really following in those footsteps? Are we really taking the steps to counteract and combat climate change? I want you to reflect upon yourself as a viewer regarding what exactly is happening in your life today. And while you ponder upon this thought, we're going to take a short break, and please stay tuned with us while we talk more about the weather. Catch us soon. Welcome back to all the lovely viewers who stayed tuned with us during this devastating news reporting of the floods. Approximately 4 million people have been affected by the floods in Pakistan, and we have wrapped up that segment. However, let's move on to some positive news that reflects the true highlights of Pakistan. And to speak very proudly about this, we're going to talk about how the Assistant Superintendent of Police, Sharbano Naqvi, has been selected for the prestigious Asia Society 21 Next Generation Fellowship, becoming the first female police officer in Pakistan's history to achieve this honor. ASP Naqvi has been chosen for the class of 2025 in the recognition of her efforts to protect vulnerable groups in society and her commitment to systematic change. The Asia 21 Next Generation Summit will be held from December 5th to 7th this year in the Philippines, where selected male and female fellows will present concrete proposals to address the pressing social challenges. And it speaks very highly of how people from the Pakistani law enforcement are taking these steps to not just work for Pakistan but on an international level, to come together to find solutions to combat issues related to society. And it's people like these who take progressive steps for nations like us to develop. And for nations to develop, I think what is very crucial is literacy and being literate, right? So today we are actually celebrating International Literacy Day of 2025. It is a reminder for us that education is not just a privilege, it should be a basic human right. Literacy opens new doors and empowers communities. And on this International Literacy Day, this year's theme is promoting literacy in the digital era. The digital tools are changing and we need to learn and live and work and socialize alongside with this. In his message on the International Literacy Day, Prime Minister Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif has said that the federal and provincial governments are united in promoting education and increasing literacy rates in the country. He said that the main objective of the National Literacy campaign is that every child should not only receive basic education but also become familiar with the education tools and skills needed to develop in this day and age. And however, we have spoken about why literacy is essential, but we need to recognize that there's a lot of challenges regarding this, right? Especially in developing nations like Pakistan, where not a lot of digital tools are accessible. Maybe literacy is not accessible on a wide rate. But to speak more about this and to unfold this topic with us, we have an exceptional woman in our studios today. She happens to be Parveen Roy, the National Project Officer for Education at UNESCO. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, we were so excited to have you today, and this year's theme is actually promoting literacy in the digital era. What does this exactly mean?
Well, when we talk about digital era and literacy, we are actually saying that what it means to us is that we are now moving beyond only the skill of reading and writing. Because in today's era, as you have seen, digital literacy has become sort of very important for us, because it's a tool which helps us navigate even our daily life, what we say is the realities that we interact with. So we are saying that for us it's beyond reading and writing, but it is also about the capabilities to navigate, to critically engage with the digital information that is already out there. So when we talk about digital literacy, obviously we talk about that. In the context of Pakistan particularly, it's important, as you already said, that the Prime Minister has sort of mentioned it, that all the provincial and the what we say is the federal government has to work towards it, and to work towards the what we say is fulfillment of the SDG 4, which is quality education and inclusive education for all. So we are talking in that particular arena, and we are talking that our children should not be left behind, not only in terms of what they read, what they write, but also what we say is in terms of how they navigate through this information age. So that's where we are saying, and it's a call, the theme is actually a call, so that how we can navigate on this and how we can capitalize on this.
That was described so beautifully, what literacy means for the people in today's day and age, right? But let's take a step back and talk about what exactly is illiteracy and how is it impacting people, right? It leads people to be stuck in poverty cycles. It leads to a lot of isolation and lost opportunities. So let's talk about why is actually literacy important to combat illiteracy?
Well, literacy is important, or what we say is illiteracy for that matter, is not only that you lose that opportunity of employment, of education and all that stuff, but it has a weight on individuals, particularly, as you mentioned, that there is isolation in it. If a mother, for example, is not able to read a prescription of her child to sort of give her medicine, then that actually gives her a burden itself, that she feels less confident in doing that or taking care of her child. Similarly, if a farmer is not necessarily what we see today, particularly in this flooding and all that, if a farmer is not ready to or not able to read that what the metro or the predictions are, so certainly he or she feels isolated. So in that way, it's a personal burden, but it is also as a societal burden for us as well, illiteracy in that regard. Because as you see that in societies, the countries or the nations that have moved forward or have progressed, literacy becomes a foundational tool for that particular matter. So therefore, what we say is that the impact of the societal impact as well as the individual impact of illiteracy cannot be, you cannot actually go beyond that and say that no, it's not a problem. It cannot be overstated. We have to combat it, we have to look into it if we have to become what we say is responsible citizens, not only in the countries where we live, but also in the countries that are beyond, like what in today's world we talk about the global citizenship, yes? Yeah. So that in that context, literacy becomes very, very important for us from the individual level, because I personally think that literacy turns your silence into voice. That's how we put it. What we say is that the non-participation becomes participatory, and then you feel more empowered. The UNESCO way of putting it is more empowered, more dignified, and more powerful voice that you can not only change yourself but also your society.
All right, Ms. Parveen has shared how beautifully and in such an impactful way how education matters, right? And how it stems from just being a housewife to maybe seeing the grocery list or giving the right medication to your child. And not just that, how farmers need basic education just to understand weather patterns. And not just that, I think we need to be literate enough to know what crop grows in what season, under which type of soil and fertility levels. I think education goes all the way around, and we definitely need to invest into it. But let's come to the practical terms and the statistics and the figures, right? So what are the current statistics of literacy globally and worldwide and in Pakistan, right? According to a UNESCO study, at least 739 million adults worldwide still cannot read and write. Those are staggering figures. So please elaborate on that.
Yeah, well, we have some good news also, and some also not very good news, I would say, in terms of how the states actually are currently. As you rightly mentioned, that there is what we say is, compared to the 1979 or even way back, 86 or 80+% of the population now globally can read and write. So they are literate. And also we say that, but as I said, there is a bad news also at the same time, because as you mentioned, that the 552 million people who cannot read and write, and that includes adults as well as that includes youth. And we also say that we see that the number of out of school children have also proportionally increased over the year. And there are certain reasons for that increase, what we say is. And those reasons could be what you just mentioned in the news as well. It's the devastating floods, because they deprive those children of going to school and studying. And also it's apart from what we say is the conflicts, but more so when we look at the patterns, the population is also one of the area which actually then increases in the number of out of school children as well. When we specifically talk about girls, then I would say the factors are even more complex. Do we have schools close by? Do we have female teachers in the schools where these children can go and study? Do we have what we say is these transportation systems to actually transport these children to there. And we also talk about the early marriages, for example. Is that something that is not allowing our children to, or particularly our female children, to girls to go to school and to benefit from that? So when we talk about the states, and particularly globally, that is the picture, but when we talk about Pakistan, we have like what we say is 68% of our population is literate. But when we look into more depth into these statistics, obviously we have inequalities. It's the inequalities of gender, because genders are like female are 50% and below, and male are perhaps 68% or reaching to the 70%. Then we have the rural and urban divide.
Yes.
You look at where we stand in terms of the provincial level. Let's say perhaps Punjab does much better than we compare to Balochistan.
All right.
In that regard. So we have that urban and rural divide, we have the gender divide, and we also have, because today's theme is also about digital, so we have the digital divide too, because there are children in Islamabad who learn about robotics, who learn about coding, who learn about AI. But we have children perhaps in the northern part of Pakistan, they do not necessarily have the basic infrastructure of electricity, leave alone the devices and all that stuff. If you do not have the electricity, if you do not have those connections, interconnection, it becomes very difficult. So we have to go a long way, and with Pakistan, 26 plus million children out of school actually takes us a call that we need to take this day as seriously, and also the commitment that the government has taken by announcing it as an education emergency. So we have to take that seriously, and the partners like UNESCO, UN, UNICEF, or any other organization, and the national and international partner, we have to come together, join hands in order to sort of improve these stats.
I think that was described very beautifully, and how each point that you spoke on reflected on the actual challenges that we face, right, of the gender inequality. Men are actually more literate in Pakistan than women. Females are maybe forced into early marriages, and that too reflects on how it doesn't really make sense, right, because in order to take care of a home, in order to look after your people in the house, you need to be literate enough to at least accommodate them and to help them grow in today's day and age. And not just this, you talked about the rural and urban divide and the digital divide as well. And speaking of the digital divide, what exactly can we do in today's day and age to embed digital technologies in Pakistan, and what kind of key policies and initiatives can Pakistan and UNESCO collaborate on to find better solutions to this?
Well, before going into the solution, we also need to understand the challenges also, yes, because we are a very diverse country, and diverse not in terms of the linguistic diversity, the cultural diversity, the geographical diversity that we have. We need to look into it and see what can be done and what is possible in that regard. For example, when we talk about school, and I said that 26 million plus children are out of school, but we also think about those who are in the school, because you see the ESSER report, the national assessment test, what they are telling us. They're telling us that those in the school, particularly in grade 5, are not able, half of them are not able to read a story in their own language or in the national language.
Oh my gosh.
And hardly half of them can only write one sentence in English, for example. So you see, we have to confront it that when we talk about digital literacy, the digital tools, or what we say is the digital tools would not necessarily be able to give us, or we would not be necessarily capitalize on in its potential until and unless we have the functional literacy. Yes, and we have been able to actually look around that. So what we see is, we see a lot of examples that are already out there, and the government is doing actually a lot in terms of the federal the what we say is devices, those internet and accessibilities, and providing them the skills that they can. But we have to now expand it, given that education is more of what we say is a provincial
levels.
yes. So we have to look into it, that each province and all that stuff, these that are piloted in Islamabad, how can they be sort of now scaled up in other provinces to make the digital education, what we say is digital literacy, more accessible to people in those areas in the far-fetched. And we also have to look into not only the high-tech part, we also need to look into the low technology or the capacity of the low technologies and capabilities, that how we can capitalize on them in order to reach those people where the infrastructure is fragile. So we have to take both the digital literacy and also the functional literacy together in order to build on the promising digital age that is already there. And certainly what we say is helping them to learn, because it's a functional skill now, and you have to, because now everything almost depends on digital. What your mobile presents you, like either it's banking facility, there's health facilities, or even registering your child into the NADRA office. It has more to do with digital, yes? So we have to take it at that level. And as I said, globally and locally, we have many examples that we can certainly capitalize on and work around, and that's how we can reach many of them.
It's spoken like a true education enthusiast, and it really makes me happy. It makes my heart joyful that we have people like you coming over here every day and telling us and educating the people of Pakistan what steps to take to counteract illiteracy, to move to a better, brighter future, to empower us, right? And thank you so much, Ms. Parveen, for taking out time and being with us today on a busy Monday morning. And I think what you spoke definitely touched my heart, and I'm pretty sure it has touched all of the viewers watching, and we're going to counteract and take steps to combat illiteracy. But moving on, I think what we really need to dive into is what is happening in for Pakistan actually, and I think I'm really missing my co-host Shahzad today, because he would be ecstatic to announce this news. I think we would be fighting over who is going to actually read this news out. It is that Pakistan has clinched the Tri-Nation T20 series after defeating Afghanistan by 75 runs in the final. The batting first took place, and Pakistan scored a 141 runs for the loss of 8 wickets in over 20 overs. Mohammad Nawaz was declared the man of the match and player of the series, and it makes me really excited how on weeks on end we talked about who's going to win this title, who's going to clinch this title, and it was Pakistan. I think we made a spectacular comeback, right? We were always too harsh on our team. We would grill them a lot, but I think all that grilling took into effect, and now we are able to receive our victory. And speaking of being victorious and knowing what to talk about, to take the steps to empower yourself with education, you need to talk about how you're going to build a better future, a stronger future. And it stems from non-conventional topics, such as what steps are you going to take towards your marriage? Are you going to take premarital genetic testing for the future of Pakistan, right? And unfortunately, Pakistan has a staggering amount of cousin marriages. Let's have a drum roll. The cousin marriages percentage is 60 to 70% in Pakistan, and it leads to the brewing of a lot of genetic diseases that can be passed down to your children. And to speak more about this matter, we actually have an exceptional expert in our studios today. She happens to be Professor YASMIN SARDAR, a highly accomplished obstetrician gynecologist with an advanced training in reproductive and medicine genes. She is also a research fellow in the fetal medicine from King's College London, with a clinical fellowship from the Leicester Facility Centre in the UK. And let's talk to her regarding this issue. Thank you so much for joining us in our studios today. How are you feeling?
Thank you very much, Eesha, and Assalamu alaikum, my dear Pakistani native fellows. I'm very thankful to World PTV morning show.
Now, we are grateful that you were able to take out the time on this busy Monday morning and join us. And before we dive into the topic, right, I want to ask you what exactly is your academic and clinical journey? It sounds so fascinating. You have such a vast experience. Please tell us about it.
Thank you very much, Eesha. So it's interesting. I'm a Canadian Pakistani and left country about 30 years ago. I did my initial med school and training from King Edward Medical College. I'm a graduate of Fatima Jinnah Medical University. I specialized MRCOG from King's College, University London, and did fellowship in fetal medicine, REI, and advanced training in urogyne. I'm very proud to share that I'm also trained in Canadian health system. I did full residency training from Canada, University of Ottawa, and McMaster University. I'm also the CEO of Global Medical Service Solution. Thank you very much.
That sounds so exceptional, and I think it's so great to have someone like you in our studios today with such a vast experience. So let's dive into the topic. What exactly is genetic disorders, right? And how do they stem from?
Right. It's very important to, so let's make it simple that what genetic disease is. Genetic disease or disorder, Eesha, it's a health condition which we inherit from our parents or due to certain changes in environment, there is a changes or mutation in genes, chromosomes or proteins. So that is called genetic disease.
All right.
And
why exactly is it important in a country, especially like Pakistan, right? Why should we get premarital genetic testing in Pakistan?
Yes. Well, as you know that the burden of genetic disease is huge globally, not only in Pakistan, worldwide. And if I quote that 400,000 people worldwide, million people are affected by genetic disease. In Pakistan, it is particularly common because of our cousin marriages. The risk of having genetic disease is increased as compared to the rest of the world. And it's very important to understand that these diseases are preventable, and the most important is that once it is preventable, we can also make the generations and generations healthier by avoiding the transfer of genetic disease in our siblings and so on.
All right. Thank you so much for highlighting that. So let's talk about what kind of disorders do stem from cousin marriages, right? Is it thalassemia, breast cancer, and what else? Please talk about those.
Right. So the common one you have mentioned, the most common is thalassemia and the breast cancer. Then apart from that, the various children, they are born with genetic disorders.
All right.
So basically we classify them in three groups: the single gene disorders, then is the chromosomal disorders, or the complex disorder or the syndromes. Very much important from the fetal medicine point of view, from oncology cancer के point of view से, and the other is cousin marriages के point of view से. पाकिस्तान में ये खास तौर पे it's very, very important for the public to know.
I think we all need to recognize that this is an important and integral matter, which is why we have Dr. Yasmin in our studios today with us. And let's talk about the stigmas regarding genetic testing, right? Pre-genetic testing, premarital genetic testing. There's a lot of misconception related to maybe it's too expensive or maybe it's not accessible. So please let the people watching know that where can it be accessed by? Is it cost effective and friendly?
I'm so glad, Eesha, that you have raised this point. But for the sake of public, if you allow me, I will just say what are the benefits of genetic testing.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. So the benefits of genetic testing is that it helps in diagnosing the condition, whether the test will diagnose, confirm, or it will rule out. The number two benefit is that it predicts that how much is the risk of carrying the gene and transferring to our siblings or the children.
All right.
The third benefit is that it empowers the women to do the family planning, that we do not want to transfer the genetic disease in our future generations. So in a nutshell, it enables the doctors to choose the best treatment for the condition, which is actually now it's a precision medicine.
All right.
And I hope that the Pakistan will, like other developed countries, will be practicing the precision medicine.
All right.
Coming back to your question, that it is said that it's expensive, there are lots of doubts. Absolutely, I'm glad that we will clarify that the challenges of genetic testing, as you said, that it's expensive. It is certainly expensive. It's not available. There is a lack of education about genetic testing, lack of awareness, lack of education and awareness. Availability, it's not available in across Pakistan or even across the world, it's not available. Affordability is a big challenge. What I notice in Pakistan, we organized recently a conference last month in Serena Hotel, 25th of August.
Yeah,
That was all about capacity building for Pakistan.
All right. And speaking of this conference, let's talk about it. You held this conference on the 25th of August to talk about the challenges of the capacity building and genetic testing. So please tell us more about this conference and what unfolded in it.
Thank you very much. The theme of the conference was capacity building, and that was focusing, the aim was that the genes without borders. This is a slogan from Canada I have brought.
Wow.
Doctors without borders, and I dream and I wish for Pakistan genes without borders. So my capacity building roadmap for Pakistan, and actually through your morning show, I would like to convey it to our Chief Minister, like the Mariam Nawaz Sharif Saiba, who is herself is a woman, whose goal is to empower women, and in Punjab that is a lot going on. So the roadmap will be, ma'am, education, awareness, Pakistan-wide awareness about the genetic testing and disorders. Then making the hub of genetic testing, choose 4 provinces like Karachi, Aga Khan is already doing. Punjab, Chughtai Sahab is already doing, and few known BG is doing. Islamabad, mashallah, I would mention, I met the brilliant team of Health Science Academy, Vice Chancellor Sahab, Dr. Shahzad Khan, and Professor Shahid Beg.
All right, that sounds like such a vast experience, and thank you so much for taking our time and informing us about how premarital genetic testing is very, very integral. I'm so sorry that we're a little short on time, but however, I think this was an issue that needed to be discussed. Thank you so much for being in the show today, and for all the young viewers watching, maybe young couples who are about to get married, this is your chance for you to go and get premarital genetic testing done. It's not going to mean that your marriage is going to end. Like the doctor mentioned, that precision medicine is now available and you can target the disorders before they take place. I think that's very exceptional, and a huge thank you for all the people who came into our show today and talked about what is happening across the globe, and we will be back tomorrow. Keep spreading smiles and staying positive. Thank you so much. Goodbye.